Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Lord of the People. I set off a frenzy of plant alienation. Chapter 51. In the Grey Mist, the place where Zerg Mother Queens gather. Her Royal Highness Emma sat high on it, indifferent to what was below. The expressions of the Zerg Empresses below were changing, and the tentacles on their heads trembled from time to time, and they were communicating in low voices. The defensive power of the human race barrier is a bit strong. Even the dark mantis of the 6th order purple quality cannot be crushed. A Zerg Mother Queen said unwillingly. If it wasn't for the barrier, the dark mantis would have killed the human race just now. It's like a tortoise shell, completely covering the entire territory. I don't know how His Highness plans to break through this layer of defense. I really want to see it. A Zerg Queen sitting next to Alice sighed. Alice glanced at her. Xindao. You'd better pray that you can see. Alice is very sad. She has a feeling of being sacrificed. But she didn't dare to defy His Royal Highness Emma, otherwise she might be eaten right now. Hey, the human race sent that pearl grass up, and a plant of grass and a praying mantis got together. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I'm afraid I wouldn't have believed in cosmic sea, and such a bizarre thing. A Zerg Empress said with emotion. The 6th level praying mantis is said to be a top-level swordsman who was cultivated with endless effort when His Highness was at the 7th level. Excellent level talent, coupled with the 2 sharp forwards tailor-made for him by His Royal Highness. I heard that he once fought against a 7th level powerhouse without losing. He has very rich combat experience. Oh, doesn't that mean that the grass is about to be defeated? A Zerg Queen said excitedly. Obviously. Xiao Xiao's killing insects yesterday was like killing chickens, which scared them a lot. Not necessarily. It's not like you haven't seen that grass before. That terrifying sword energy can chew up the skulls of insects. But that grass lacks combat experience. The two should be evenly matched. A Zerg Mother Queen analyzed. It has started. Identification. Suzy used identification techniques on the Dark Mantis and Xiaoju respectively, and 2 sets of data emerged. Open black lens bracket dark praying mantis close black lens bracket. Race. Zerg. Quality. Purple. Grade. 59. Bloodline. Blade Mantis Clan. Physique. 3 million. Agility. 1 million. Spirit. 2 million. Skills. Sword drawing. Double sword serial slash. Fatal blow. Shadow kill. Shadowless sword. Introduction. A Zerg elite who has experienced countless wars. A natural swordsman. Open black lens bracket 9-leaf sword grass close black lens bracket. Race. Plant. Quality. Supreme. Grade. 56. Bloodline. 9-leaf sword grass. Talent. Practicing the sword becomes stronger. Physique. 9 million. Agility. 10 million. Spirit. 7 million. Skills. Sword shadow. Sword drawing. Sword ju. Crosscut. Continuous cut. 7 tribulations sword technique. Loyalty. 100% permanent. Introduction. Seriously hack every enemy. It seems that this battle has no pressure on Xiaoju. Suzy compared the physique, agility and spirit of the two. It was found that Xiaoju basically abused the Dark Mantis in terms of attributes. Brush. The body of the Dark Mantis turned into a phantom and disappeared from the spot, avoiding Xiaoju's blow. Next second, the body of the Dark Mantis appeared behind Xiaoju, and the 2 mungbean-like eyes burst out with a cold light. 2 blade-like forefeet cut towards Xiaoju without hesitation. There was a sneer at the corner of his mouth, as if he saw the scene where the grass in front of him was chopped up. But Xiaoju seemed to have expected it long ago. The moment his strike fell slightly sideways, the attack of the Dark Mantis was in vain, and 2 blades slashed on the ground. Boom. There was a loud roar. On the ground, a ditch 10 meters long, 3 meters deep, and 1 meter wide opened directly. It is conceivable that, if attacked by this kind of blade, I am afraid that it will be cut in half in an instant. A hint of surprise flashed in the eyes of the Dark Mantis. To know his blow, let alone the 6th level. Even the 7th rank has been injured by this knife. But this grass seems to have easily avoided it. The Dark Mantis felt a little dignified. This may be the strongest opponent he has ever faced. See the great chasm below. Xiaoju, who originally wanted Dark Mantis to practice sword with him, immediately became serious. Next moment, I saw Xiaoju standing in the void. The 6 slender leaves were waved by her like arms. Like 6 sharp swords aimed at the dark mantis. In an instant, the hairs of the dark mantis exploded, and the crisis warning formed from countless experiences was frantically reminded at this moment. The dark mantis flew away without hesitation. But wherever he flies, that fatal feeling followed like a shadow, and he felt as if his body was about to fall into the ice cellar. Next moment, Xiao Ju moved. The 6 leaves waved irregularly. Together. 2 way. 3 ways. Dense sword lights flew out from the leaves, slashing towards the dark mantis. The dark mantis has a hideous face and uses all means to escape. A figure looms in the void. But no matter where he appears. Next moment, there are countless sword lights coming. He could only change his figure constantly in the void, like a bleak bereaved dog. In the fog, they saw the grass that played with the dark mantis. All the mother queens of the Zerg race were stunned. They thought that the 2 sides would be evenly matched, but the dark mantis was hanged and beaten. There is no backhand power at all. Many Zerg queens are silent. Some of them can't even beat the dark mantis, now let them face the terrifying human lord. What's the difference between this and death? Suddenly, they realize. The territory of the human race on the opposite side is not a piece of cake at will, but a terrifying existence like a prehistoric giant beast. Emma saw that the faces of the queen mothers seemed to be not very good looking, and the corners of their mouths were slightly raised. Don't care. So what? It's too late. Thinking. Emma slowly floated up from the throne, and condescendingly said to the many Zerg empresses. Let's go. Let's meet the human lord in person. Heard that. The complexions of many Zerg empresses changed drastically. Night. 11:50. There are 10 minutes left before the end of the final assessment. Loud roar. The moment the dark mantis was killed, all Zerg attacks also stopped. It's not over yet. Suzy was a little puzzled and looked at the time. Only the last 10 minutes left. Could it be that the Zerg Empress planned to spend the last minute with him? The impulse to kill her in Suzy's hands. Clicking on the leaderboard, Suzy checked his points. 03, Qingyan Middle School, Suzy, points, 30 million. Close black lens bracket. When I saw that my ranking was only ranked 3rd. Suzy was a little puzzled. The Zerg that they killed by themselves did not have 10 million, but 7 or 8 million. How could it not be the first? He checked the 2 still in front of him. Tian I know. 1 Middle School. Han Li, points, 32 million. Shenhe No. 1 Middle School. Bai Mengmeng, points, 30.3 million. Suzy took a look. Their scores are not much more than his. But obviously it has exceeded the original assessment difficulty. In other words, these 2 are also geniuses who have unlocked multiple assessment difficulties. Really. Still can't underestimate the world's talents. Open black lens bracket jade rabbit collar close black lens bracket. A girl with a height of 1.55 meters, a delicate and cute appearance, and a dark Lolita costume looked at the scoreboard speechlessly. Almost caught up. Suzy, you old 6. Holding the white rabbit in her arms, Bai Mengmeng kept cursing the name Suzy. There was no color in his eyes, as if he had experienced something unforgettable. In fact, her trial has long since ended. She knew that there was a legendary template hidden by the Han family in this trial, Beeman. Although she has a legendary unit, Taiyan Jade Rabbit. But it cannot be compared with the Behemoth, the killing machine on the battlefield. So she has positioned herself second. I thought it was easy. Until the last hour. This man named Suzy. Like an unreasonable crazy horse. With her unresponsive speed, she went from 0 to the top 100. Then he reached the top 10 in a short period of time. Then she became anxious. Start to use some special rules to start the 7th level assessment again. This time, she exploded directly. Open 100 times the difficulty. She doesn't believe it. With 100 times the difficulty, Suzy can still catch up with her. Until then, seeing that Suzy's points no longer change, Bai Mengmeng breathed a sigh of relief, and then looked outside at the battlefield. Suddenly, a strange smell came from outside the city. Vomit. Bai Mengmeng vomited directly. Outside the city, monster corpses were scattered all over the field, and the corpses were piled up like a mountain. Open black lens bracket Beeman collar close black lens bracket. Suzy, count yourself as cruel. Han Li looked at Suzy in a daze, the points that had stopped beating. His legs and feet went limp, and he slumped on Golden Behemoth. Under the body, the Golden Behemoth, who was originally tall and straight and extremely majestic, was a little shriveled at this time, and also collapsed on the ground. There are hundreds of behemoths who are also tired and their legs are weak. Last hour, when seeing Suzy's frantically beating score, he knew it was a dark horse. But he was still shocked by the crazily beating points. So he immediately opened the most difficult 100 times difficulty with special rules. Hundreds of behemoths raced against time to kill. Only in a short period of time reached 32 million points. Now, seeing that Suzy's points are no longer increasing, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. In the last 10 minutes, I don't believe you can surpass me. Han Li lay on Golden Behemoth's body, making an unconscious sound. Outside, on Qingyan Square. Stopped. Suzy's points are no longer beating. The final score is 30 million. It's just a little bit close, what a pity. Third. It's already pretty good. Hey, the point difference from the first place is only the last 2 million, and the difference from the second place is only 300,000. What a pity. It's already very good. I never dared to imagine that someone from our Qinghai city could break into the top 3. This is the first time since the establishment of Qinghai City. Yes, congratulations. There must be a celebration tonight. Wait a little longer, until it's really over. What if there's a miracle? There are only 10 minutes left, how can there be a miracle? What if, on the high platform, Ruyan Lu also saw the score where Suzy stopped beating? 30 million points. Smelly brother, what did you do in there? Isn't it too fierce? Lu Ruyan was terrified by Suzy's grades. Although she is the third, she is already proud of Suzy. Later she can say, Suzy, the top 3 in the Tianzhou list. I taught it. I don't know how many teachers can't envy them all their lives. And she was lucky enough to meet Suzy in her first year of teaching. She has been lucky. Raise your right hand slightly. A fragment exuding mysterious colorful brilliance appeared. When Suzy scores into the top 100, the headmaster had already personally handed over this piece of Godhead to her. Let her absorb and stabilize the territory. But she doesn't want to use it now. This thing should be more useful to A's. Thinking about it, Lu Ruyan put the things away again. Open black lens bracket natural collar close black lens bracket. Human lord, do you dare to come out and fight? In the sky, a provocative voice sounded. Suzy looked towards the sky. In the distance, a Zerg mother queen 4 or 5 meters long stood in the void, uttering words. Shouting for his domain. Interestingly, she was standing just outside the range of Suzy's artillery fire. With a little thought, Suzy immediately understood her plan. The corners of Suzy's mouth curled up slightly, and he replied loudly. Come here if you have the ability. Suddenly, Emma was as black as Pete. Open black lens bracket natural collar close black lens bracket. The dark clouds recede, revealing the bright starry sky, and the bright moon hangs high, bright and bright. In the territory, Suzy was secretly vigilant, his eyes fixed on the small figure in the sky. Because he found that bug, which is only 4 or 5 meters long, is very powerful. Open black lens bracket Emma queen close black lens bracket. Race. Zerg. Quality. Purple. Level. 75. Bloodline. Bloodthirsty Zerg. Physique. 30 million. Agility. 28 million. Spirit. 27 million. Skills. Bloodlust. Devour. Parasite. Psychic power. Death beam. Introduction. An exceptionally gifted Zerg Empress, a well-deserved genius of the Zerg race. The 8th level Zerg has reached the 8th level in strength, and it is not weak in the upper ranks. Its attributes have exceeded 20 million, and its physique has exceeded 30 million. Suzy secretly clicked his tongue when he saw it. This attribute is against the sky. The attributes are 2 or 3 times greater than that of Xiaoju. It is conceivable that the 6th level Xiaoju is already so powerful. What will happen to the 8th level Zerg? The last wave of attacks was indeed not that simple. The huge number of Zerg just now was the same as the low-level Zerg yesterday. It's still just cannon fodder. The real 7th level assessment. It's the 8th order Zerg and the hundreds of Zerg queens behind it. 8th order. Undoubtedly the strongest opponent Suzy has ever encountered. However, what about the 8th level? If you are my enemy, even the gods can kill you. A murderous look burst out from Susie's eyes, and the blood in his heart gradually boiled. Next moment, a set of golden suit with golden radiance flashed away on Susie. 7th level. Sun Hunting Bow, Strength plus 8 million, Speed plus 8.8 million. 7th level. Hui Archery, Accuracy plus 9.7 million, Power plus 7.8 million. 7th level. Star Ring, Strength plus 6.8 million, Spirit plus 7.9 million. 7th level. Joshin Star Robe, Physique plus 7.1 million, Spirit plus 9 million. 7th level. Sun Moon Zijin Crown, Physical Strength plus 8 million, Spirit plus 8.5 million. 4 pieces of 7th level legendary equipment, 1 7th level legendary, Hui Archery plus my 7th level strength 100 times. Let you have all kinds of tricks, and I will shoot you with 1 arrow. Suzy sneered secretly. Feel the energy in the body like a surging river. He feels that using the sun hunting bow now can shoot a hole in the sky. But Suzy didn't show his equipment right now. Suzy didn't know what the 8th Order Zerg was planning. Now the other party is staring at him. He is also not easy to act rashly. Wait for him to find the right opportunity, and then give him a fatal blow. In the sky beyond nature. Empress Emma glanced across Suzy's huge territory, and a trace of surprise flashed in her eyes. Seeing nothing in the crystal. But now standing in the void. But they can clearly see the whole face of the human territory. The area of the 7th tier territory is as high as 70,000 square meters. This is definitely the most enchanting human race she has ever met. According to the rules of human territory, the stronger the territory, the stronger the human lord. Then the strength of the lord she faced was at least 100 times that of an ordinary 7th rank lord. Thinking of this, Emma was not only a little silent. Among the same rank, is there really anyone who can compete with that human lord? Shook his head. Not to mention the 7th level, it is the 8th level of myself. Now I dare not say that I am 100% sure that I can win the human lord. Fortunately, she came prepared. I borrowed the artifact, blood-devouring bow, from my ancestors. Since the human race doesn't appear, then his tortoise shell will be broken. Empress Emma didn't want to wait any longer, her eyes turned cold instantly. Looking down at the Zerg Empress. It is an honor for you to sacrifice for me. When I ascend to the highest one day, there will be a day when you will be resurrected. At this moment, a Zerg queen asked anxiously. Your Highness Emma, I don't know how we can destroy the barrier of the human race. There is only a little time left before the end of the assessment. Once this time is exceeded, they will be excluded. Then didn't they lose their wife and lose their soldiers this time? No wonder she was in such a hurry. The faces of the other Zerg mother emperors peeked at each other, obviously not knowing. Oh, you want to know? Emma smiled and tapped the tentacles on her head from time to time, as if she was very happy. Please inform your highness. Okay, then I'll let you take a look. Emma promised loudly. Heard that. Many Zerg empresses below were overjoyed. It seems that his highness is really possible to break the barrier, not to lie to them. Then they don't need to fight desperately with the human lord. However, Alice, who had been hiding at the end, heard this, but her tentacles kept trembling, and she was covered in cold sweat. A death crisis made her heart almost burst. Escape. You must escape. Alice's thoughts changed sharply, and she made a choice in her heart. She didn't want to die. She didn't want to be the subject of a blood sacrifice. There is still a chance to escape. If you stay here, you will definitely die. But where can she run? Running towards the mist. There is still Emma's army inside, and it is almost certain to die if caught. So, that human lord may be her only chance of survival. Thinking of this, Alice already had a decision in her heart. She has never been a hesitant person. There is an old saying in the human race, he who understands current affairs is a hero. Therefore, she decided to join the enemy. I made a decision in my heart. Alice secretly accumulated strength. Next moment, the strength of the whole body exploded, and he rushed hundreds of meters in an instant. At the same time, at the moment of rushing out, he suddenly roared. Emma, we have worked so hard for you, but you want to use our lives to break through the barrier. You will die badly. Sisters of other Zerg races, if you don't want to die, run away. Finished speaking. Fighting to be injured, Alice burst out again at an even more terrifying speed and rushed towards Suzy. And behind him, the Queen Mothers of the Zerg were stunned. When they saw Alice running for her life, they didn't react for a while. What happened? Her Royal Highness Emma wants to kill them. How is this possible? Next moment, the Zerg Mother Queen, who had already seen something was wrong, fled in all directions without hesitation. This change immediately made the remaining Zerg queens react. Followed without hesitation. Above the sky, Emma frowned slightly, and looked angrily at Alice, who caused the empresses to flee. I wanted to chat with you at first, but you didn't cherish it. Go to hell then. Emma looked at the fleeing Zerg queens below, with a hint of sarcasm in her eyes. How could it be possible for you to run away? After saying that, a bloody longbow appeared above her head. Just appeared. A huge cloud of blood appeared in the sky. It is the artifact, blood-devouring bow. Blood sacrifice. Emma drives the artifact. Countless red bloodshots instantly spread from the bloody longbow, grabbing at the fleeing Zerg in all directions. Almost in the blink of an eye. Then entangled the Zerg Mother Queens who were fleeing everywhere. Almost in the blink of an eye, it was sucked dry by the bloodshot adult insects. No, Your Highness, I can work hard for you. Damn it, we trust His Highness so much, you actually want to sacrifice us. Your Highness, my ancestor is a middle god, if you do this, my ancestor will not let you go. Damn it, even if I'm a ghost, I won't let you go. The Zerg empresses were frightened, afraid, flattering, or cursing Emma. But there was no change in Emma's face. Hey, a bug escaped unexpectedly. Emma looked at Alice, who was entangled in blood and cut off half of her body without hesitation. Some surprise. It's just a sixth-order bug, harmless. Emma looked at the bloody arrows that had condensed on the bowstring of the open black lens bracket blood-devouring bow close black lens bracket, with a smile on the corner of her mouth. But it's not enough. As Emma said, countless threads poured into the fog behind her again. Soon, there was a shrill scream in the mist. Seeing the bow and arrow that has turned blood red, Emma smiled, looked at the human lord on the city wall, and muttered to herself. This attack uses a divine weapon as a bow, and blood arrows made from the blood of hundreds of sixth-order Zerg queens and tens of millions of Zerg soldiers. Although it is not comparable to the gods, it is also comparable to the full blow of a 9th-level powerhouse. I don't believe it. You can still stop this. Quote. Wait until I break your barrier, and see how I can eat you bite by bite. Comma. City wall. Suzy also heard the roar of the Zerg Empress. Some surprise. I haven't attacked yet, so I'm fighting among myself first. However, it's also an opportunity. Suzy was slightly overjoyed, then cast his eyes down. Alice, who had already run to the city and kept begging him for mercy, ignored her no more. This half-mutilated Zerg Empress is no threat. After killing the 8th order bug, I will take care of him. Ha, I'm saved. When Suzy looked over, Alice only felt heavy breathing. If Suzy decides to kill her first, she will die unjustly. But when Suzy stopped looking at her, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. But in the next second, her scalp went numb. 10 huge cannon muzzles were aimed at her at some point. She feels, if you move again, you will be blasted to pieces by the artillery fire. Gudong. Alice was so frightened that she collapsed to the ground, not daring to move. Comma. Outside world. In the endless darkness, the atmosphere was dignified at this moment. Human race and Zerg race, the two major races, are in a stalemate. Wu Qingying stood in the void, holding a long sword exuding fiery flames in his hand. Underfoot is a crimson vermilion bird that occupies half of the starry sky. Behind, hundreds of human gods are waiting in full battle, full of murderous aura. Opposite, hundreds of planet-sized Zerg gods confronted the Terrans. In the front is a person, more than 2 meters tall. But her eyes were blue and red. Very strange. She is the Mother Queen of Zerg, Irina. But the aura exuding from her body was no weaker than that of Wu Qingying. One person and one worm, just standing in the void. The void already has a faint tendency to collapse. But neither side made a move. Their eyes met on the battlefield of Emma and Suzy. Wu Qingying, who do you think will win? Irina smiled while playing with the hair in her hand. Winning or losing doesn't matter. I just need to make sure you don't do anything. Wu Qingying said indifferently, not caring about the battle below at all. That can't be done. Today, the human race will either be eaten or taken away by us. There is no third possibility. Irina shook her head and refused. The once-in-a-million-year plant lord. To be able to have one more high god for a race. Such a good thing. How could I let it go? Hey, you try it. Wu Qingying sneered, not giving in at all. On the city wall, Su Zi bowed his bow and strung the strings, with a stern expression, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Loose right hand. The arrow turned into energy shot out directly. Whoosh. The red gold arrow with the golden flame turned into a long rainbow piercing the space. Rushed to the sky. High above the sky. Emma looked a little stunned. She hadn't made a move yet, but Su Zi took the lead. Then try it out. Whose arrow is more ruthless? With a movement of Emma's divine thought, the blood arrow that had been ready to go turned into a blood-red dragon and swooped down. 2 arrows, one golden and one red, rushed towards each other with a powerful momentum. Boom. The 2 arrows collided in midair, making a deafening sound. The 2 huge auras confronted each other, turning into thousands of sharp blades, as if they wanted to cut through the space and cut the world. For a while, it was impossible to tell the winner. How is this possible? High above the sky, Emma's expression was shocked, her face full of disbelief. The blood arrow she thought would win was blocked. This made her look extremely ugly. No, it's still far from the time to decide the winner. Emma shook her head. She could see that the arrows fired by the human lord were only more explosive. It is impossible to fight against the blood arrow formed after sacrificing tens of millions of Zerg lives. Just hold on for a while longer. After all, he still couldn't resist the attack of the blood arrow. Alice watched frightened from below. When he saw that the arrows of the human race lord looked decadent, his face turned pale. Pray for Su Zi in his mouth. If Su Zi loses, she might be eaten alive by Emma. Su Zi also heard Alice's prayer, and was a little speechless. This is the first arrow, so hurry up. Su Zi had no hope of stopping the bloody arrow with one arrow. After all, it is an artifact and it took countless lives to condense into shape. How could it only have such a little power? If it were so easy to solve. It will not be used as a whole card by the 8th Order Zerg. However, she spent tens of millions of lives in exchange for a blood arrow. Su Zi bowed and pulled the string again. The same red gold arrows condensed on the fingertips as before. 1 arrow can't stop. 2 arrows, 3 arrows. The corner of Su Zi's mouth turned up slightly, and he let go of his right hand. The second red golden arrow turned into a rainbow and rushed into the battlefield. Moment. The first red gold arrow, which was originally showing a decadent look, seemed to be supplemented with strength. The 2 arrows collided with the blood arrow in the air without hesitation. Emma's face was a little dark. That human lord still has spare energy. She thought that the strength of the lord was completely consumed by the power of an arrow. But there seems to be some surprises. And also at this time. Another arrow rushed into the battlefield. Why is there more? Emma stared at the arrows that increased again, a little unbelievable. Could it be that his strength is inexhaustible? But what greeted her was one arrow after another. 3, 4, 5, 9. When an arrow is shot, the blood arrow is firmly suppressed. When there are 2 arrows, the blood arrow can still be suppressed. When the 9 arrows are connected together, the blood arrow can barely resist. Next moment, 9 red gold branches merged into one. It turned into a Kai Yan that was 2 or 3 times bigger than before and charged at the blood arrow. Encountered almost no obstacles. Blood arrows in an instant. It was devoured by the fiery golden flames. Defeated. Emma couldn't believe it. Pity. The red golden arrow carrying golden flames would not give her the slightest time. Almost in the blink of an eye. It has passed through her body. The body of the 8th rank was burned to ashes the moment it came into contact. At the same time, a reminder came from Su Zi's ear. The battle is over. Start settlement. It's finally over. Hu Yi's archery skill, 9 arrows in 1, is well deserved. Su Zi smiled with a look of relief on his face. The seemingly simple 9 arrows just now. In fact, it was completed with the assistance of his 100 times 7th level energy, 7th level Hui archery and several pieces of legendary equipment. With a collection of these, There is no God, otherwise Suzy would have given him an arrow. This is dead. Alice stared wide-eyed, looking at Her Highness Emma, who had turned into ashes. There was still a hint of disbelief in her eyes. His Highness of the 8th rank, with the divine weapon in his hand, was no match for the human lord. And she seemed to want to kill him before thinking about it this way. Alice felt a chill down her spine. Outside, Qingyan Plaza. The last minute, it's about to end, is there still a chance? Dude, it's third, what else do you want? Hey, I'm just a little reconciled. How many years has it been since Qinghai City ushered in a peerless genius, and the difference between the first and second is not too big. It's a pity to be ranked third like this. Hey, no, it's not the third one anymore. Damn, what's going on? Damn, is this cheating? For a while, there were bursts of exclamations from the square. Lu Ruyan looked at the screen in doubt, her beautiful eyes widened. Open black lens bracket 01 Qingyan Middle School, Suzy, points, 70 million close black lens bracket. I'm going, why has it more than doubled all of a sudden? Lu Ruyan was stunned, not knowing what that stinky brother was doing inside. One day, earned 30 million points in the last hour, and doubled the points in the last minute. How could it be possible to get 40 million points at once? Lu Ruyan suddenly felt that this younger brother seemed to be outrageously strong. 70 million points. Guan Anshan was also waiting, and when he saw Suzy's points at the end, he was completely silent. At this moment, to Suzy, he might not even be considered an aunt. He didn't know if Suzy would remember him. He can only pray that Suzy will not care about him, a little man. Qin Shang was also silent when he saw this result. He looked at the happy Lu Ruyan with envy and jealousy. How is her luck so good? To have met such an arrogance as Suzy. Suddenly, his communication message rang, and it seemed that the news came from the family. After reading it, I was stunned. Qin Yi was expelled from the Qin family. In the void. Mom, look, your son-in-law is number 1. Are you happy? Xiao Qingluan took Lu Piaopiao's hand, jumped up excitedly and said. Lu Piaopiao glanced at her speechlessly, and slapped her on the back of the head. Girls are from every family, and they don't know how to be shy. How much you know him, you want to marry him. Xiao Qingluan held the back of her head and said stubbornly, I've met him before, okay, he's the most handsome guy in our school. Now that he's so powerful, if he can find such a son-in-law, why don't you take pleasure in talking about me? Quote. Lu Piaopiao covered her face, feeling a little ashamed. Is this really my raised daughter? Why don't you look like me at all? With your average body, can he take a fancy to you? Lu Piaopiao pointedly nodded on her chest. Xiao Qingluan lowered her head when she heard the words, and saw the toes at a glance. Suddenly his face turned bitter. Mom, I don't want you to say that about me. It's also a family. You and my sister are as old, and I drink milk and papaya every day, but I don't see her growing up. Hey, by the way, I can't do it alone, so let's add my sister, we two become sisters. I don't believe he doesn't like it. Xiao Qingluan seemed to think of something, and his face brightened. Snapped. Xiao Qingluan hit the back of the head again. Little Lang Hoof, you have a good idea. Open black lens bracket elf collar close black lens bracket. He is number 1. Number 1 among tens of millions of lords. Xiao Wanqing stood on the city wall, looking at the information in front of her and muttering to herself. She originally thought that Suzy had already been eliminated. But when she subconsciously searched for Suzy's name, only to find out that Suzy is actually still there. But his points are always 0. Until the last hour. She saw Suzy's crazy points. In just 15 minutes, he reached the top 100. Entering the top 100 for the first time, it was just above her. Afterwards, they rushed all the way to the top 10 at an exaggerated speed. Reached a terrifying 30 million points in the last 10 minutes. Ranked third. Then Suzy's points stop and don't increase anymore. Originally, she thought that Suzy's legend would end here. Ranked third. It's already a height she can't even hope to reach. But at the last minute, his points skyrocketed again. Reached a terrifying height of 70 million. Xiao Wanqing didn't know. Has there been a higher score since the vermilion bird collar was established? Probably not. Unimaginable. How did that handsome classmate manage to achieve 70 million points? Led him to look up. Xiao Wanqing felt that the distance between herself and him not only didn't shrink, but got bigger and bigger instead. Clenching her fists tightly, Xiao Wanqing's icy eyes showed a hint of defeat for the first time. Can't compare to him in learning. I thought that the awakened elf template could surpass him. In the end, he reached the top of the Tianzhao list only with the plant department. You really are a monster. Xiao Wanqing said unwillingly. But I will definitely catch up with you. Open black lens bracket jade rabbit collar close black lens bracket. The dark little Lolita by Mengmong clenched her fists tightly, looking at her ranking which was finally ranked third, and then at Suzy who ranked first. He gritted his teeth immediately. A pair of lovely big eyes seemed to be steaming at this moment. Suzy, Suzy, Suzy. You stole my house, you are shameless. You old six, don't let me meet you. Otherwise, I will let my rabbit eat all your plants. Quote. Bai Mengmong never expected. She was robbed at the last minute. Her ranking also dropped from second to third. The most important thing is Suzy's points. In the end it was as high as 70 million. What a joke. How could someone kill tens of millions of monsters in 1 minute? In fact, Suzy did not expect. The deaths of the tens of millions of Zerg and hundreds of Zerg queens were all blamed on him. It was a surprise. Open black lens bracket Beeman collar close black lens bracket. Han Li lay on top of Golden Behemoth, staring wide-eyed at the name that was already number one at this time, Suzy. He wiped his eyes to make sure he read correctly. Han Li stood up angrily. Suzy, we're not finished. I'm waiting for you in the Tianzhao battle. I want to see how your number one strength is. Han Li clenched his fists tightly, his face full of unwillingness. He was overtaken by Suzy at the last minute. And more than 4,000 points. If he didn't know that there were no loopholes in the Blue Star rules, he would have doubted whether Suzy was cheating. He didn't know how Suzy did it. But in the main city of Tianzhao War, he is bound to fight with one of them. Open black lens bracket war settlement close black lens bracket. Enemies. 14 million tier 1 Zerg, 8 million tier 2 Zerg, 5 million tier 3 Zerg, 1 million tier 4 Zerg, 300,000 tier 5 Zerg, 1200 tier 6, 1 tier 8, and 1 artifact. Result of the war. Complete victory. Evaluation. SSS+. Due to 100 times the difficulty and 1,000 times the reward, recalculate. Rating. Invincible. Since you ranked first in total points in this rookie trial, the reward is X 100%. To sum up the rewards. Reward 1. Territory area X 10. Reward 2 30 million source crystals, 1 million source points. Rewards. 3. Junior Tianzhao title, belonging to luck, and favored by heaven. Reward 4. Legendary Troop, Nuwa Clan, Legendary Troop, Sun Elf, Legendary Troop, Bana Flower. Reward 5. Legendary Hero Summoning Token, X3. Reward 6. Equip Lotus Root Silk Walking Cloud Shoes, Legendary. Equip Golden Crow Sky Patrol, Legendary. Reward 7. Building Auction House, Legendary, Building Mall. Reward 8. Godfall, Unique. Damn it, it exploded. Seeing a series of rewards, Suzy couldn't help laughing. The area of the territory has directly increased by 10 times, and now it is even more difficult to upgrade the territory. 30 million source crystals and 1 million source points are enough to raise the territory to 2 ranks at once. Reached 9th rank. The title of Junior Tianzhao. The teacher once said that if you get the title of Tianzhao, you can get the favor of heaven. More importantly, when descending into a different world, can be exempted from the will of the world against. It can turn bad luck into good luck and turn danger into safety. Just like the child of destiny. Quote. Suzy's eyes were full of surprises. This is a small benefit of the title of Tianzhao, and there will be more benefits in the future, which can only be realized by returning to Blue Star. Tianzhao represents the supreme glory of the human race. One of the 3 legendary units is plant-based. I got a piece of legendary equipment again. I don't know if it is a set with those pieces. There is also a car, which looks good. 2 legendary buildings, roughly functioning similar to Pond. The last God Fall. Suzy checked it out. Open black lens bracket God Meteor close black lens bracket. Level. Supreme. Function. Summon the will of the Blue Star to carry out a precise strike. Introduction. originated from the blessing of the blue stars will to the alien lord, the only one. An opportunity for Blue Star will to make a move in person. Susie's face was shocked. Blue Star has a will, this is what all Blue Star people know. But I have never heard that Blue Star will make a move for someone. Even the gods can be killed, as expected a Blue Star's will. Susie hopes that he will not use it one day. Gods. Far from being able to deal with him now. Shaking his head, Susie no longer thinks about it. With so many rewards, his territory is enough to get a sea change. Extraterritorial. Trash. You can't win even with an artifact. Irina was furious when she saw Emma was turned into ashes by an arrow. Next moment, a giant palm covering the entire alien planet was taken without hesitation. It seems to destroy the whole world together. You dare. Wu Qingying, who had been staring at Irina all the time, saw Irina making a move, a gleam of anger flashed in her beautiful eyes. The long sword in his hand slashed fiercely at the giant hand. At the same time used divine power to protect the planet. Natural caller. Tell me, what do you want me to do with you? If you can't satisfy me, then. After watching the trial rewards, Susie is in a good mood. While waiting for countless treasure boxes of various colors outside the city wall to start to condense, Susie looked at the Zerg Queen lying under the city wall and pretending to be dead. Open black lens bracket Empress Alice close black lens bracket. Race. Zerg. Quality. Purple. Grade. 59. Bloodline. Parasite. Physique. 1 million. Agility. 1.1 million. Spirit. 1.2 million. Status. Seriously injured. Skills. Parasitism, psychic power, danger perception. Introduction. A robust Zerg with danger perception. Now even if you kill this Zerg, you probably won't be able to get any more rewards. For a while, Susie didn't know how to deal with it either. No. Then kill it. A killing intent flashed between Susie's brows. Suddenly, Alice, who was lying on the ground, immediately jumped up, knelt on the ground and begged Susie for mercy. Dear human lord, I am willing to be your subordinate, at your service. As long as you don't kill me, I will be like an ox and a horse to repay your great kindness. Quote. Alice frightened and said quickly, kowtowing her head as she spoke. She was really afraid of this human race killing the gods. I'm afraid that if I speak slowly, I will be blasted to pieces by the terrible muzzle over there. To this end, she recited the lines she had already prepared. Susie. Looking at Alice who kept kowtowing. How does Susie feel that she is so proficient in these words, as if she has practiced countless times? But Susie didn't struggle. It is a good choice to accept Alice as a subordinate race. Don't look at the Zerg being so unbeatable here. But on the outside, it is a race that scares many people. Moreover, Alice's qualifications are also good, and she has great potential for future growth. The chance of becoming a god is very high, and he has enough potential to grow into a qualified fighter. In addition, due to the stability and timidity of the Zerg. Except for the lucky ones who opened the Zerg template among the human race. Almost no one can own Zerg arms. And if he accepts the Zerg as a subsidiary, it can be regarded as a kind of card. Sign it. A golden light flashed in the palm of Susie's hand, and the light yellow parchment of affiliated contract appeared in his hand. Then it was thrown directly to Alice. Alice took it, didn't even look at the content, directly scratched the freshly formed wound, and signed her name on it with blood. In order to survive at this time, she can't control so much. Moreover, this human lord seems to treat his subordinates very well. Follow him, maybe you can become a god in the future. She is investing in the future, not from her heart. The moment Alice signed her name, Susie felt that there was a certain connection between himself and Alice, the Queen of Zerg. There seems to be an extra miniature model of Alice in my mind. Curious, Susie touched slightly with divine power. Puff. Please spare my master. Alice swears, I will do my best for my master. I beg my master to spare Alice. Outside the city wall, Alice suddenly rolled back and forth on the ground with her head in her arms, as if in extreme pain. Okay. Susie looked indifferent, and silently withdrew his strength. It seems that the subsidiary contract has a great influence on the subsidiary. Susie felt that he only needed to use a little force to crush that villain. At the same time, Alice will also be exploded. Successfully solved Alice, the mother queen of Zerg. Susie saw that all kinds of treasure chests piled up like a mountain outside the city had been condensed. Big hand wave. All chests are in the inventory. Next, it is time to complete a wave of great evolution for the territory, and then go to another world to participate in the Tianzhou battle. Rumor has it that it is not known whether it is true or not that he has the resources to become a god in the Battle of Tianzhou. Helpless, Susie's previous level was too low, and he didn't have enough access to information. After entering the Tianzhou battle, find someone friendly to ask. Make a decision. Susie took the little fairy's hand and was about to leave. And at this time, a message prompt appeared in front of Susie. Due to the Zerg attack in the trial world, all members are now required to return to Blue Star. Do you want to return immediately? Close black lens bracket. Suddenly, Susie's eyes froze. Open black lens bracket beam collar close black lens bracket. Zerg invasion. Han Li's expression changed, and he immediately put away the treasure chests piled up outside the city wall. He comes from a top god family and knows more about it. Knowing that the territory guarded by Vermilion Bird is Zerg. In history, the Zerg have launched several invasions, and each time the Terrans have suffered heavy casualties. This time, he actually set his sights on the trial world. I don't know if the Tianzhou contest can still be held. Return. Han Li took a deep look at the gray mist, and left quickly without any delay. Open black lens bracket jade rabbit collar close black lens bracket. Bai Mengmeng jumped up in fright when she heard the sound, and put the treasure box outside the arena into her inventory in a panic. After recalling all the jade rabbits outside, they will return immediately. Zerg invasion. No small matter every time. She didn't dare to stay for long. Open black lens bracket elf collar close black lens bracket. Zerg invasion. Xiao Wanqing's expression changed, and she immediately recalled the elves who were outside. Everyone returns, so shouldn't he also go back? Xiao Wanqing suddenly realized something. At the same time, nearly 10 million other lords who had just completed the trial also received the news. Hearing the Zerg invasion, without any hesitation, he pressed return. Next moment, people and territories returned directly from the other world. Return. Susie had heard of the Zerg invasions in history. Each time the lower gods were the soldiers, the middle gods were the generals, and the upper gods were the commanders. Sometimes there are even god-level powerhouses. But this kind of war can hardly be fought once in tens of millions of years. Why did you attack the trial world this time? Susie was puzzled. But I didn't want to stay either. Return. Susie recited silently. But the next moment, his expression changed drastically. He still stood where he was, and did not return to Qingyan Square. You should stay. At this time, there was a terrible sound in the sky. Susie raised his head, his complexion suddenly changed. A giant palm fell from the 9 heavens, like a giant cage enveloping the open black lens bracket natural collar close black lens bracket. Owner. The little goblin suddenly threw herself into Susie's arms and smiled at Susie. Next moment, take the giant palm. How scary are gods? Susie didn't know before. After all, there are only 4 lower gods in Qinghai City. In the core city of the legendary Vermilion Bird, gods walk everywhere, and there are as many subordinates as dogs. Qinghai City is just a small place where birds don't shit. The gods were supreme to Susie before. Naturally, it is impossible for Susie to see the gods make a move. But now he knows. A blow that covered the whole sky. Even before Susie's consciousness could react. The attack has already landed on the territory, on him. Die. Susie seemed to hear the voice from the gods in a trance. His voice came from unknown places, across endless space. Susie didn't even see what the god who attacked him looked like, what race he was, and didn't know why he targeted him. I only saw a giant palm holding up to the sky, at a speed beyond light. Press down towards natural collar. Time seems to stand still at this moment. Space seems to be compressed into a solid. Difficulty breathing. Everything is frozen. Susie's face is stiff. I want to move, but I can't. The huge oppressive force made 06 almost heartbroken and his skin congested. The wind stopped, and the sound was gone, only the giant palm falling from the sky. He feels that time has never passed so slowly. He couldn't speak, he could only watch the giant palm clapping. Blur. Blur. Suzy wanted to cry out in his heart, and wanted to use the characteristics of the world tree to turn the territory into a visible but intangible existence. But his mind was too slow. The thinking of a 7th rank lord. Even faster than the falling speed of the giant palm. He could only watch helplessly as the giant palm gradually approached, but he was powerless. The first sight of the giant palm falling. Suzy seemed to hear a whine from the territory. Subsequently, indestructible barriers in trials. It turned into pieces without the slightest resistance. The second glance of the giant palm falling. The 10,000-meter high world tree was directly broken in the middle. Countless leaves were reduced to ashes. The third eye dropped by the giant palm. Open black lens bracket arrow tower close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket city lord's mansion close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket burst flame tower close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket bow and crossbow tower close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket lay tower close black lens bracket. It collapsed in an instant and turned into ruins. The fourth eye dropped by the giant palm. The territory can no longer bear the huge pressure. The ground of the territory cracked, the earth shattered, the cracks extended for thousands of meters, and all the exotic flowers and plants dissipated. Watching pool, fan tower, secret garden of the gods, fish pond. All buildings were destroyed. The giant palm drops the fifth eye. The giant palm pressed on Xiaoju's body. The 6 leaves instantly turned into debris and completely dissipated. Suzy's eyes and ears were red, and his facial features were bleeding. Next moment, the giant palm fell on the top of the head. Suzy saw the goblin smiled. There seemed to be thousands of ramblings in the beautiful eyes, but they couldn't speak, the reason was unknown. Suzy then lost consciousness. Outside world. On Qingyan Square. The light flickers away. Xiao Wanqing appeared in the center of the square. Instantly discovered. Why did someone come out? Who is this person? So beautiful. Be careful to be beaten again. That's Xiao Wanqing, the eldest lady of the Xiao family. You don't want to live. What? She is Xiao Wanqing, the one who broke into the 98th place in the end. If it wasn't for Suzy, the dark horse, she might become the proud girl of Qinghai this year. Yeah, she's beautiful, with such good talent, and she's one of the 4 great god families, Bai Fumei. You said I was chasing her, is there any chance? Hey, I don't even look at what you look like. People who chase her can go around Qinghai City, but I've never heard of the goddess favoring anyone. Why did she come out? Isn't she going to participate in the Tianzhou contest? Could it be that she gave up? The crowd talked a lot and was surprised by this. Seeing Xiao Wanqing coming out, Lu Ruyan felt a little puzzled. Stepping forward to Xiao Wanqing's side, asked, Student Xiao Wanqing, why are you out now? Xiao Wanqing saw that the person who came was Lu Ruyan, the teacher of the 5th class, and said softly, the Zerg invaded the trial world, and the will of the world made those who participated in the trial return for the time being. Finished speaking, Xiao Wanqing looked around, but didn't find the figure she wanted to see, so she asked, has Suzy not come back yet? What? Zerg invasion. It's only been 1,000 years since the last invasion. The Zerg launched an invasion again. Last time it was because of a newly discovered universe. What is it this time? I don't know, we didn't get any news. It seems that the Zerg launched a surprise attack. By the way, where is Tianzhou? Why didn't Suzy Tianzhou come out? Yeah, Xiao Wanqing has come out, why didn't Suzy Tianzhou come out? Nothing will happen, right? The crowd quickly discovered that Suzy hadn't appeared yet. Suzy hasn't come out yet. Xiao Wanqing was stunned when she heard the sound. She thought Suzy had left, but it turned out that she hadn't come out yet. It's not out yet. Lu Ruyan frowned slightly. Suddenly, her left eyelid began to twitch wildly without warning. Impossible. How could something happen to Suzy? Lu Ruyan's face was so ugly that she wanted to press down her throbbing left eyelid, but she couldn't at all. He'll be fine. Lu Ruyan shook her head and squatted on the ground, unwilling to believe it. When the others heard the words, they were all silent. In unknown namespace, Zerg Irina confronted Wu Qingying with a relaxed expression. In order to prevent the entire galaxy from being shattered, the two fight directly in the deepest dimension. Suddenly, Irina smiled slightly. Wu Qingying, you lost this time. Wu Qingying frowned upon hearing this, but said calmly, I won't lose if I stop you. Haha, I'm afraid you don't know that the human lord is dead. Irina laughed loudly. This is a rare chance for her to beat her in the thousands of years of fighting against Wu Qingying. Wen Yan. Wu Qingying's complexion changed, and her eyes crossed the space, looking to the outside world. Immediately, he saw the whole star that was shattered into pieces. 113. Out of the world, a demon-like figure stood upright, seemed to sense Wu Qingying's gaze, and grinned at her. Zerg race, for the sake of a human lord, you actually dispatched two high gods, aren't you afraid of triggering a war between the two races? Wu Qingying did not expect. The Zerg race is so frenzied. This is definitely going to kill Su Zi. Really, the alien lord is indeed easy to miss. The previous alien lords also died before they grew up. But the others all died in the same level struggle. But this time it was the Zerg who shamelessly sent a god, or a higher god. I've done everything, can't you guys write me Zerg war for a dead man? Irina is not afraid at all, unscrupulous. Because she has devoured a lord of a different kind, she understands the horror of the other kind best. Once the other side grows up, there is no peace for their buggers. So it's better to kill him steadily. For this operation, she specially reported to the Zerg and sent an extra high god. In order to be foolproof. Now, the human race died, and the goal was successfully achieved. Suddenly, it seems to feel something. A strange color flashed in Wu Qingying's cold eyes. Then he sneered at Irina. Oh, what if he's not dead yet? How can? Irina's eyes cut through the space, and saw the figure that suddenly appeared in the void, and the words she was about to say got stuck on her neck. It is Su Zi. Dark, murky starry sky. A dazzling light flashed away. A handsome figure appeared. It was Su Zi. The pendant scar rabbit on Su Zi's left chest. The shimmer that emanated gradually dissipated. Then Scar Rabbit lost one of its two front teeth and turned into fly ash. It means that Su Zi has used up a chance to die. Open black lens bracket surrogate doll close black lens bracket. Quality. Legend. Type. Rule-based equipment. Function. Avoid a mortal crisis. Remaining usage times. 2/3. Introduction. You have 2 more chances. Void. With Su Zi's revival, its domains coalesce again. This time, Su Zi opened his eyes. His eyes were cold. He did not hesitate to use the World Tree attribute, virtualization, and decided to keep it in the future. He will not give any god another chance to make a move. Next moment, the restored World Tree emitted inexplicable green waves. Green waves swept across the territory. Swipe over Su Zi. Like flowers in a mirror and moon in water, like dreams and illusions. When the green wave disappears, everything is the same as the real one, and there is no difference. Ha, you actually have precious resurrection equipment, I underestimated you. The familiar voice 590 sounds. Su Zi looked up. A Zerg race that is many times bigger than the planet, stands horizontally in the starry sky, with countless ferocious claws shaking. It can stir up the boundless situation every time. Identification. Open black lens bracket Nasta Zerg close black lens bracket. Quality. Level. High God. Hash. Question mark. Introduction. If you meet, run away. A high God, personally taking action against me, a lord who has not become a god, is really shameless. Seeing the only grade displayed, Su Zi twitched the corner of his mouth. Oh shit. How much hatred he has for the Zerg. Did I provoke you? A trial. Send out an 8th rank Zerg with an artifact. He didn't say anything, it was 100 times more difficult. But in the end, a dignified upper god. Shoot him. Isn't this shooting mosquitoes with cannons? Is he that easy to bully? Su Zi was depressed and angry. If it wasn't for my own open black lens bracket die doll close black lens bracket. Does that mean he was planted here today? Looking around. The territory is shattered, and ravines are crisscrossed. All buildings crumbled. Simply because Su Zi has just obtained a lot of source crystals and source points, he has the ability to restore the territory to its original state. The little goblin and Xiaoju were also killed, and the 2000p cannons were gone. Fortunately, he has open black lens bracket Hall of Valor close black lens bracket. Su Zi can bring them back to life. But what if not? Has he lost them forever? Suzy hated Zerg in his heart. He is very Zerg. Beam nodded. This hatred will never end. Suzy felt ruthless in his heart, gnashing his teeth in hatred. Don't let him get a chance. Otherwise, these damn bugs must be exterminated. See the hatred in Suzy's eyes. Nasta looked disdainfully. To her, the human race in front of her was just like ants, which could be destroyed with a raised hand. Human race, you should be honored to let me do it myself. The majestic voice echoed in the starry sky in an inexplicable way, passing through billions of miles of void. Pooh. Suzy spat on the ground disdainfully. Of all races, Zerg is the most shameless. Honor her mother. When Nasta saw this, a trace of anger flashed across the star-sized face. The human race in front of them really didn't know what was good or bad. Human race, dare to disrespect the gods, you are looking for death. Nasta was angry. Since he was promoted to a god, he had never been so despised by others. I can kill you the first time, and I can kill you the second time. Don't think that you have the equipment for death, so you will be presumptuous in front of me. Oh, then try again. Suzy raised his middle finger towards Nasta Age. If it wasn't for his sneak attack before, how could he die once? Suzy secretly took out a bronze token. There are 2 large characters in seal script engraved on the token, Shenyan. Suzy didn't expect that he would use this token so soon. But without any regrets, can use it to kill a high god. Sufficient. Outside world. On Qingyan Square, the middle-aged principal stood in the middle of the square, with divine power gushing out from his body, majestic and solemn, suddenly issued a divine light into the sky. Get through. As the headmaster's voice fell, everyone present saw that. A video screen built with divine power appeared in front of everyone. Look, how is the trial ground now? I don't know what happened to Suzy Tianzhao. I can't see it yet. Crowds surged in the square, talking in low voices one by one. But basically without hope, because they just got the news. In this surprise attack by the Zerg, 2 upper gods were dispatched. One of them took away Lord Vermilion Bird, and the other personally wiped out the planet completely. The reason why the middle-aged principal agreed to Lu Ruyan's request to check the specific situation. It's all for Xiao Wanqing's sake. He also didn't think Suzy would survive. After all, that is the upper god. Each is a pillar of a race. The strength is tyrannical, and a slight blow is enough to destroy a star field. With such a strong hand. Not to mention that Suzy is immortal, even a middle god, and he cannot escape bad luck. I see. There's someone there. Suzy. Shit, Suzy is still alive. How is it possible? The planet has collapsed, and he is still alive. It's unbelievable. It's a miracle. To be able to survive under the attack of a high god, is this likely to be included in the record of strange stories of the human race? I knew how he could die so easily. The people present kept exclaiming, and all eyes were fixed on that figure. Little bastard, can't you save your sister some snacks? In the void, Lu Ruyan burst into tears seeing that Suzy was fine. Mr. Lu is really kind to his students, because the students even shed tears when they were in distress. Xiao Qingluan on the side couldn't help but praised Lu Ruyan. There are too few such teachers now. Lu Piao gave her a blank look, and stomped on Xiao Qingluan hard. Is it the eyes of people who care about the students? Silly girl. It's okay to see Suzy. Many people in Qinghai City breathed a sigh of relief silently. After all, Suzy is the first pride since the establishment of Qinghai City. He won great honor and benefits for Qinghai City. Suddenly, someone noticed the figure of Nasta, the high god of Zerg, covering the starry sky. His legs trembled suddenly. Is that the upper god? It's terrible. How did Suzy survive from the attack of the high god? Just looking at it makes my soul tremble. Look at Suzy Tianzhao. He can face the high god without changing his face. This courage alone is not something ordinary people can have. People in the square side with emotion. Suzy's strength is by no means a simple talk, but a real strength. Facing the higher gods without the slightest fear, in the eyes of everyone, this is the demeanor that the genius of the human race should have. Countless girls who are watching, their eyes are rippling, their hearts are dark. Hey, what is Suzy Tianzhao doing? Suddenly someone shouted loudly. Everyone heard the words and looked, but their faces were dull. Under their sight, Suzy raised his middle finger towards a Zerg high god. Damn it, Suzy is awesome, fierce. A mortal raised his middle finger to the high god, and I stepped on my horse and knelt down to the high god. I want to know, is there anything that Suzy Tianzhao dare not? I'm afraid it will anger the upper god of the Zerg race. It's a bit unwise. That's right, what Suzy is facing now is the high god. If there is no one to rescue him, he will almost die. Now Lord Vermilion Bird is being held back. Who can save Suzy? What about the other high gods of our human race? Why don't you take action? It's not that you don't know that our Vermilion Bird Lord is extremely domineering and extremely protective of the calf. The surrounding lords have been offended many times. How could there be a high god who is willing to come out? Question mark quote. Then boss Suzy is dead. The crowd was in an uproar, shaking their heads regretfully. Just escaped, but was watched by the high god again. Void. Lu Ruyan looked worried. Ozzy, you little bastard, what are you doing to provoke the high god? What should we do now? Ruyan Lu had no choice but to. She is just a mortal, even Cheng Shendu has no. Not to mention facing a higher god, an existence comparable to Lord Vermilion Bird. Even if she was sent there, it would not be enough to give the Zerg a gap between their teeth. Mr. Lu, don't worry. As the saying goes, good people don't live long, but evil will last for thousands of years. Suzy is so awesome, how could he die so easily? Xiao Qingluan on the side was overwhelmed with confidence. She was the only one in the audience who didn't feel worried at all. Lu Piao gave her a blank look. I don't know where this girl got her confidence. Does she understand what it means to be a high god? The gap between Suzy and the Zerg high god is bigger than the gap between a grain of dust and the sun. Facing such an existence, even a god would feel ashamed, trembling physically and mentally. And Suzy is just one. Just a rookie lord who has just gone through the 7-day rookie trial. How could it be the opponent of the high god? Xiao Wanqing sat on the side, with a hint of worry in her cold eyes. She hasn't caught up with Suzy yet, and she doesn't want him to die unwillingly. She silently prayed for Suzy in her heart. Expect a miracle to happen. Starry sky. Nasta, the giant worm across the galaxy, didn't want to waste any more time, worrying about attracting the attention of the human race. How did the human race escape my blow? After all, a giant claw cut through time and space, causing ripples in space. Almost in the blink of an eye, the giant claw passed through Suzy's body, cutting through the territory again. But this time, Suzy's whole body was not damaged at all. He was clearly standing there, but the attack couldn't touch him at all. Seeing this scene, a strange color flashed in Nasta's eyes like the sun and the moon. The attack failed. He cast his eyes on the human race that was as big as an ant, and he couldn't believe it. He is a high god. Even when attacking a mortal, the attack failed. 2 attacks, unable to kill an ordinary human race. It made him feel like he was being laughed at by the other Zerg. Immediately furious, once again, with all my might. Numerous claws cut through the space. A terrible space storm is triggered to sweep countless planets around. But all the attacks hit Suzy's body, but passed through him without any hindrance. Just like the human race and the territory under his feet he saw were just projections. What's wrong? Keep attacking. Suzy put one hand in his pocket, and turned his back to Nasta with the other hand, hooking his middle finger. Aren't you amazing just now? Why can't you even touch my clothes now? Suzy scoffed unceremoniously. Human race, what method did you use? The killing intent in Nasta's eyes seemed to pervade the entire universe, but no matter how he attacked, he couldn't touch Suzy. How is this possible? At this moment, not only Nasta was dumbfounded. Even the people in Qingyan Middle School and Wu Qingying who had been watching were stunned. A 7th-rank lord makes a high god helpless. Even fairy tales dare not make up like this. Since you don't attack, let me try. Suzy showed a look of ferocity on his face. Try if you can withstand the blow of Lengxing Tiandao. Just got off the plane. This is the door on the plane. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.